He had always believed that the world divided people into two kinds, those who walked toward danger and those who ran from it. For most of his life, Manuel Manny Rivera born in a small barangay in Cavite, I thought he was the second type. He grew up quiet, skinny, the kind of boy who apologized even when he wasn't wrong. But life has a strange way of shaping people, and the man who would one day take a bullet for a Saudi prince did not grow up looking like a hero. He became one because no one else was willing to be. His journey started the day he promised his mother he would give her a better life. At 25, he took a job in Riyadh as a security aide for a private company serving VIP clients. Most OFWs go abroad to work in construction, nursing, housekeeping, but Manny, with his calm, observant nature and quiet discipline, found himself pulled toward security work. He trained hard, learned Arabic basics, learned defensive techniques, and became well known for one rare trait: he never panicked. His fellow Filipinos described him as young tahimik pero alam mong kaya kang ligtas, the quiet kind but strong in ways you can't measure. After 3 years, his reputation grew so quickly that one day, his supervisor pulled him aside in the training hall. The supervisor didn't smile often, but today he had something close to one. "Rivera," he said, "you're being reassigned. High-profile client, royal-level security. Don't ask who yet." At that moment, Manny didn't know whether to feel honored or terrified. But when he heard the name Prince Khalid Al Mansur, one of the most progressive and well-respected princes in the kingdom, he realized his life would never be simple again. Prince Khalid had a reputation for kindness and fairness. Unlike many men born into privilege, he treated his staff as people, not servants. The first day Manny met him, the prince extended his hand, something extremely rare coming from someone of his status. "You're the Filipino everyone talks about?" the prince asked, smiling warmly. "I've been told you're very calm, and you will need calm people around me. I work." How do you say this? In unpredictable circles. He wasn't joking. It didn't take long for Manny to learn that the prince received threats: political, personal, ideological. His work involved reform, something that made him respected by some and hated by others. Manny wasn't just part of the security team. Over time, he became one of the most trusted. Everyone in the palace noticed something unusual. The prince treated him almost like a friend. He would ask about the Philippines, about Manny's siblings, about how spicy Filipino food really was. One afternoon, Prince Khalid surprised him with an unexpected compliment. "You know, Rivera," he said while reviewing documents, "I have had guards from many nations. Americans, British, Jordanian, Moroccan. And yet, when I asked who is the most reliable, every advisor said the same thing. The Filipino." Manny, shy as always, simply bowed his head. "I just do my job, Your Highness." "No," the prince replied. "You do more than that." Their closeness would soon be put to the ultimate test. The day everything changed began like any other an unremarkable Tuesday in Riyadh, the kind of day where the dry wind carried sand lightly across the palace courtyard. The prince had an event to attend, a private diplomatic gathering involving foreign guests, businessmen, and government officials. Nothing public, nothing controversial, supposedly nothing dangerous. But danger never sends invitations. The location was a sprawling hotel, often used for royal meetings. Polished marble floors, towering golden pillars, guards posted in every corner, guests in immaculate thobes and elegant suits. For Manny, it was another day of scanning entry points, checking escape routes, and walking half a step behind the prince. He heard the soft hum of conversations in Arabic, English, and French mixing in the background. Everything felt normal. Too normal. Manny always trusted his instincts. They were the reason his supervisors valued him. And today, something prickled at the back of his mind like a warning. It started when he noticed a man near the far end of the hall, someone whose hands trembled slightly as he held a tray. Though he wore a uniform suggesting he was catering staff, his eyes kept darting not to the guests, but to the prince. Manny shifted subtly, positioning himself closer. He had learned to read people not through grand gestures, but through micro-movements. Nervous swallowing, sudden stillness, the way someone breathed. This man's breathing changed when the prince stepped closer to the main podium. Manny didn't look away for a second. The event began routinely. Speeches first, then mingling. The prince stood near a group of visiting officials from Europe. Manny scanned every direction left, right, above, behind. That's when the world tilted. A figure emerged from behind a decorative partition fast, determined, purposeful. The glint of metal flashed in his hand. Silence shattered into chaos the moment the man pulled out the gun. Manny didn't think. His body moved before thought arrived. He lunged not forward but sideways, cutting the angle between the shooter and the prince. A maneuver so fast that witnesses later said they didn't understand what happened until they heard the gun. The first shot exploded through the hall like thunder. Guests screamed. The prince's eyes widened. And Manny, mid-dash, braced himself for impact. The bullet struck him in the shoulder. It felt like fire ripping through bone, but he did not fall. Shock stole his breath, but training carried him forward. Adrenaline turned the pain blurry. He slammed into the prince, pushing him down behind an overturned table just as a second shot fired, shattering the vase behind them. Manny's ears rang. He felt his fingertips go numb. Still, he stayed between the prince and danger like a shield. Guards swarmed, neutralizing the attacker in seconds, but time had slowed to a crawl inside Manny's mind. He could hear his heartbeat. He could hear the prince calling his name. He could feel warm blood soaking his uniform. He tried to sit up, but pain dragged him back down. "Rivera, Rivera, look at me," the prince ordered, holding his face firmly. "I'm fine," Manny whispered, even though he wasn't. "Why would you do that?" the prince asked, voice breaking not with anger, but disbelief. "It's my job," Manny breathed. "No," the prince said sharply. "You did more than your job. You saved my life." Security rushed them out, medics waiting at the entrance. As they lifted Manny onto a stretcher, he caught one final glimpse of the prince, who refused to leave his side. That alone told the world everything. This was no ordinary relationship between royal and guard. The palace released no details to the media at first, only confirming an incident. But rumors spread quickly among palace insiders, government officials, and foreign dignitaries. And in all of their whispers, one name repeated, the Filipino who stepped in front of the bullet. Manny woke up in a hospital room with bandages across his shoulder and a dull ache pulsing every time he breathed. His body felt heavy, but his mind was clear. He heard footsteps approaching. It was Prince Khalid dressed simply, without entourage or media-only sincerity. "You are alive," the prince said with relief, sitting beside him. "Thank God. Sorry, Your Highness," Manny said weakly, "for causing trouble." "Trouble?" The prince laughed softly. "Rivera, you saved me. You did what many men trained for decades would hesitate to do." Then he grew serious. "You didn't take a bullet because you were ordered to. You did it because of loyalty, because of heart. Only Filipinos do this in such a way. With courage and humility." The prince stayed for over an hour. He spoke gently, sometimes humorously, letting Manny rest. Before leaving, he said, "When you fully recover, your life will not be the same." He meant it. The incident reached high-ranking officials in Saudi Arabia, then foreign diplomats, then quietly but inevitably the Philippine embassy. To protect Manny's privacy, no major international headlines were made, but within elite circles, Manny became a symbol of loyalty and bravery. A month later, he was discharged. As he walked out of the hospital, feeling the warm Riyadh sun on his face again, he didn't expect what awaited him. The prince stood outside, smiling proudly, surrounded by guards. "A hero should not walk home alone," Prince Khalid said. From that day forward, Manny was promoted to chief bodyguard of the prince, a position usually reserved for veterans with decades of service. His salary doubled. His accommodations improved. A portion of his medical bills was paid personally by the prince. But what meant more than all of that was a conversation that happened quietly, away from cameras, months later. The prince handed Manny a document. "This is yours," he said. Manny looked at it. At first he didn't understand. Then it hit him. It was a scholarship fund under his name for his siblings. For any relative he wanted to support, fully paid for, courtesy of the royal family. For your family, the prince said. So they don't worry the way you used to. Manny tried to speak, but his voice cracked. He bowed deeply, not out of protocol, but gratitude. The prince gently placed a hand on his shoulder, the one uninjured, saying, "Your bravery changed my life. Let me change yours." Word of Manny's story quietly spread among OFWs in Riyadh. Some called him the Pinoy Shield. Others simply called him the Cavicalo who protected a prince, but Manny never bragged. He never told his story to claim glory. He always said the same thing. "I didn't think. I just moved." Anyone with a heart would have done the same. Except not everyone would have. Not everyone does. But Filipinos, time and time again, show the world something rare. Loyalty deeper than fear. Courage stronger than instinct. And kindness that does not measure cost. Years later, people still remember that day, though much of the world never heard the full details. A Filipino bodyguard took a bullet meant for a man thousands of miles away from his homeland, in a culture not his own, in a palace he wasn't born into. But in that single moment, he showed what Filipinos around the world carry within them. The heart of a protector, the instinct to shield others, the courage to stand between danger and the innocent, and the humility to walk away afterward asking for nothing in return. And that is why, long after the gunshot faded, after the headlines shifted and the palace doors closed again, the story of Manny Rivera lived on. Not as a tale of violence, but as a testament to the quiet, extraordinary bravery of a Filipino who proved that sometimes heroes are not the loud ones. Sometimes they're the ones who simply step forward when no one else will.